All right. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of The Unprofessional Entrepreneur. This week, I'm joining you with a glowy tan. If you're watching the video on Spotify, you might see this nice tan. I got completely burnt on my back from watching my husband play soccer on Sunday, and there was absolutely no shade. So, 2 hours, 30 degrees, very burnt back for a spring day for a felly. Anyways, today we are getting into my current marketing tech stack, marketing stack. I was going to call it my 2024 stack, but honestly, marketing is such an experiment. I cannot guarantee this will be my entire 2024 strategy. It is just my current desire for my 2024 strategy. And after sharing some other episodes with you, going over like my income, going over my 2023 numbers, my income streams, my thread strategy. I know that you are all interested in this type of content, so let's get into it. First off, we have Threads. Threads is my top of funnel marketing platform as of April Q2 2024, and that it is basically my main lead generation right now. I am getting a lot of visibility, a lot of incoming leads, inquiries through Threads. People are finding me first through Threads as of end of April 2024. I mentioned this in the Threads strategy episode, but I actually went into 2024 thinking that I was going to make LinkedIn my top of funnel, and I'm pleasantly surprised by Threads. I'm not going to get into my whole strategy because there is literally an episode about that, but that's where we're going to leave it. As of right now, Threads is the top of funnel. It is my visibility. On the second line of top of funnel where people are finding me, coming into my world, visibility is collaborations. When I say collaborations, I'm mainly talking about speaking on other people's podcasts, so podcast guesting. But I do also do the occasional guest presentation in memberships or communities, as well as summits, generally always speaking about content repurposing. So people come into my world, they join my email list, they follow me on social media, what have you. Collaborations partners with Threads, but Threads is kind of the one that I control more. So it is my more active, it is like my more present one. Next, we're going to get into the middle of my funnel, which is my podcast and my email list. So my podcast is the one that showcases my personality, and I would say it does the most for my relationships beyond like actually talking to people one-on-one. But my podcast really helps people to see me beyond the social posts, right? Like if you're scrolling Threads, if you're scrolling Instagram and you see my content, like you get an idea of what I talk about, what my expertise is, what my offers are. But when you actually listen to my podcast, it's like getting on a call with me. It's you hear my tone of voice, you hear my personality, you hear the way I think in a deeper way that written content, I personally believe, doesn't show in the same way. If Threads is where everyone is finding me, my podcast is the thing that contributes the most to my conversions, because so many people say like, oh, I found you on Threads, I was consuming your content, and then I listened to this podcast episode and I decided to buy. Or then I listened to this podcast episode and I have a question, but I want to get on a call with you. So the podcast is the middle. It's not the sales platform for me, but it is the one that kind of pushes people that step they need towards buying. Email is also in the middle for me, and I say that currently my email strategy, what my email marketing is doing for my business, is keeping me top of mind. I do have a private podcast called Turn 1 into 10, where I give you basically a roadmap to DIY your content repurposing, and I get people who are new to my world onto my email list from that. But I also get people signing up just based on my podcast, because I have a sign up on my podcast page on my website. I have a sign up directly to the email. I have sign up pages that go directly to the email list and don't go to the lead magnet. And that's where people who are more warm to me come onto the email list versus the lead magnet where they're more cold to me. My emails, I send right now 2 a week. I send Wednesday, the unprofessional newsletter. It's anything marketing based, content repurposing based. entrepreneurship based. It tends to be more storytelling, and it, again, lets people into my world, but in a little less structured way than the podcast does. And then I also send an email on Thursday that lets you know about the new podcast episode. So email really keeps me top of mind. It is the way that I get in someone's inbox. Basically, I get in front of someone's face every single week without having to constantly do follow-up in the DMs. And so all those people who say like not right now or maybe later, they can continue to like read my content and follow along without me needing to be pushy. I get to stay top of mind so that when they are ready to invest, when they are ready to ask their questions, they know they can come to me. And so the fourth and final platform currently that I'm using is Instagram. Instagram used to be my top of funnel and my closer, but with the way the algorithm has been going and also with my desire to be more low lift in my content strategy this year, Instagram has fallen off for me in the term of content creation and posting and sharing, but it is still closing my sales for me in the fact that I am in the DMs and I am consistent in the DMs and I have no problem talking to people in the DMs. So when someone comes over to my world from Threads, I can see that they came from Threads because they probably followed me on Threads first. But by sending them that message, like, hey, I saw you followed me from Threads, like we instantly get into conversation. A lot of these people are now booking sales calls with me and becoming clients. So Instagram is the closer, and I am closing in the DMs, but also using a mix of stories to invite people to encourage conversations beyond just messaging them. So that's what I'm currently doing. That's my current marketing stack. And my focus as of right now, like when I'm recording this, if you're listening to this right away, what I am currently doing is I am going to turn my agency Instagram profile, which is the Feli Day Studio profile, into a 9 grid. A 9 grid is basically you have 9 static photos to act as a homepage, to act as like an Instagram real estate spot so that when people come to my profile, when they come to Feli Day, I can always tag the studio and they have this clear layout of what it is we do, who it is we work with, what it is that we're all about. And yeah, they can get that clear idea without having to dig through whatever I'm currently posting, because that's like a reason why I love email and like segments in emails is you get to control the order that people see things in. And so I really want to have that 9 grid space to be able to show succinctly, this is who we are, these are our values, these are our offers, these are our ideal clients, and this is the next step, you know? And so once this 9 grid is built out, I don't like design. Design is not my thing. I am not an aesthetics person. But once the 9 grid is done and I actually design it and posted, my goal is to take the time that I reclaim from no longer being active on Instagram beyond stories and DMs and to put that towards my blog. So I would say that currently I have a blog. I'm not very active with it. But ideally, when I'm active with my blog, it will be like an upper mid in my funnel positioning. I'm like, I wish I had like graphics that I could show you, but it will ideally be like upper mid. It'll be above the podcast and the email in the fact that the blog is really a traffic driver, but it is also not an entry level space. It will be for people to continue learning from me, a thought leadership platform, an education platform. And so in that sense, it is really on par with the podcast, but it'll be a little bit more put together, I guess, because hopefully it'll be more succinct than my ramblings because I can sit down and edit it. But because I want it to be driving traffic, it'll either be driving to passive offers like the PR pitch guide, or to the podcast if it's like repurposed episodes, or to my email list, whether to sign up for the email list in general or to join the lead magnet private podcast to get people more into my world. So that's the idea that I want to follow through with the blog. it's just a matter of time before I actually do it. I'm like crossing my fingers. It might need to be outsourced, to be honest, because I just, writing blogs takes a concentration that I feel like no other piece of content takes from me. So that's where it is the struggle for me to create it. And once I am happy with the blog, or at least once I am happy with my 9 grid, my next desire is to add Pinterest into my top of funnel. It will work alongside collaborations and threads, in that it's going to focus on SEO and yeah, like the whatever Pinterest algorithm does, because it's a search engine, not a social media platform, right? So while a blog also uses SEO, it's just going to be different, because I feel like with my blog, I want to focus more on thought leadership than anything over actual SEO tactics. Where Pinterest, I want it to actually be more focused on SEO to get people to come to that blog or to go listen to the podcast. I will be using a Pinterest manager. Like, please don't ask me about managing Pinterest myself. I understand, I've studied, I get the Pinterest algorithm, or I did. It's been a minute since I've been on it. I just cannot be bothered to deal with such a labor-intensive platform myself when I'm already creating for the blog and for the podcast and for threads and my email, right? So that's where Pinterest, I would fully love to outsource that, and that is the plan late Q2, early Q3, to just like take it off my plate and see where that goes. So as a recap, the way people are coming into my world right now are threads and collaborations, soon to include Pinterest. The way I am nurturing, educating, and building relationships with my audience is through my podcast, email, and blog. And I am closing people in the DMs on Instagram and with my stories on Instagram. I hope this helps some of you understand, like, it doesn't need to be super complicated to have an omni-channel presence, to be showing up on 3 or more platforms. Like, my podcast and my email are a once a week thing. Instagram stories and threads is like a Monday through Friday thing. But threads, it's not complicated. Collaborations, it's a one-off call that I then get in front of someone else's audience, so it has a way bigger, it has a way wider reach than, say, like some other platforms I could be messing with, like LinkedIn. I'm also going to be hiring help to help me continue managing this as I continue to scale my omni-channel presence, as I continue to show up on all these platforms. So if you're sitting there like, I'm only using Instagram, I strongly recommend using more than just Instagram, whether that's turning to collaborations and guesting on podcasts to send people back to your Instagram, or you're going to get into threads, because I obviously recommend threads. Go back and listen to my thread strategy episode to learn more about how I'm showing up there. Or if you're someone who's going social media optional and leaning towards blogs and Pinterest, I would love to hear what you're up to, as I am embarking more in that direction as my business grows. Another big reason why blog and Pinterest are big interests for me is because I have plans to take off the end of the year. I'm getting married the 7th of September, and my parents arrive mid-August to Europe, to France, where my mom's been multiple times, but my father's never been. So I don't want to be working full time in that period of time. And I would like my business to be kind of self-sufficient beyond going forward. I'll also be in the US in October because I'm going to a wedding. I also hope to be getting pregnant. So moving myself out of multiple parts of my business is definitely the long-term vision right now. And I'm really happy with where this marketing strategy is at, that I can see it being a possibility for myself to step out. Whether I end up giving somebody else the role of sales calls in the future, or or hiring a podcast manager. That would be a smart one. Like there's a few other things that could change with this strategy, with my marketing strategy as a whole towards the end of the year. But I really do feel like what I have set up right now is sustainable for me and has the possibility of sticking around, where in the past I've tried a lot of things and they didn't stick. So I am gonna love you and leave you all there. If you have any questions, my DMs are always open. If you want to learn to DIY your repurposing strategy, you can sign up for the private podcast in the show notes. And I would love it if you sent me a message of what your current marketing strategy is, because I am nosy like that. Wow, I recorded this whole episode with my collar messed up. That's gonna bother me. It is what it is. Anyways, that's it. That's all for this week. Thank you for tuning in. Oh, don't forget to rate and review. I would love to hear your ratings and reviews for the show. But I will catch you all next week on another episode of The Unprofessional Entrepreneur, where you will be getting a remix case study from the first person who purchased a remix from me. And I will catch you all next week. So don't forget to stay unprofessional.